I voted for Donald Trump in the 2024 election. And I kind of just want to look in retrospect on if I would still make this decision or not. And the answer is hell no, I would not make this decision. I'm going to give things that Trump ran on that he is not completing. First of all, he said he was going to end the Russia-Ukraine war in 24 hours that he got into office. He also said he's going to put a cap on credit card interest, not happening. He said he was going to go all in on domestic energy production to bring electricity costs down. Nope. Trump also said he was not going to go into Iran, and look what's happening. I'm going to take this as a learning lesson to not always listen to what candidates are promising because they're usually not going to do it.
I did believe that the election was stolen. I believe that the riots were actually, those were patriots. Until I actually switched off Fox News and started getting my news from other places, my information, that's when it's
really
diversifying their news turned out to be a common factor in leaving MAGA.
I met my now husband in 2021, and they made me watch a documentary on January 6th, and I didn't even know what happened on January 6th prior to the PBS documentary. And I looked at him and I said, Scott, did that really happen?
Yes!
And he was like, where have you been?
It's not easy to believe something firmly and then come to the conclusion that you've been wrong for many years. Was that hard for you?
Yes, yeah. That was something that I just couldn't square.
That's what I mean by these people are demented. They're delusional. They'll just believe whatever they'll believe because they want to believe it. Dude literally just said out of his own mouth, I had to switch news networks to find out the truth. Yeah, no to realize that Fox Entertainment isn't news. I don't even call it news. It's entertainment because it's bullshit. That one chick said, I didn't even know January 6th happened. This is the problem in this country. This is the reason why it's been the way that it's been for 250 years. A circle, just going around in a circle. This country loves to just repeat history. Those people vote, and they vote against their own interest without even knowing it. As long as we have these kinds of people voting and running this country, it will never, ever, ever change. Ever.
That's very frustrating to actually hear that. And like I said, I don't do the politics and stuff, but to hear that come from another American that, you know, is not getting $2 million put in their pocket.
$2 billion. $2
billion, $2 million, $2 trillion, you know, that's a lot of money. You know, that's a lot of money, and that would help out a lot of people around here. A lot of homeless people. You could open shelters. You could really help somebody out with that.
Somebody's making money on the side. It's not me. That's all I got to say.
Is it frustrating?
It's frustrating that you see your president getting richer and richer and the middle class is getting poor. And that's about it.
Life in America right now, the economy's tough. People are struggling, you know, and hopefully it'll change.
He definitely made lots of promises, and he made them seem like they were going to come a lot quicker, faster than they actually were to ever come or ever will come. Like 90% of all the elections in the past, you know, the candidates, they promised the moon and fall short at the end of the day. But, I mean, I don't think it was the Donald Trump that we saw in 2016, and I don't think that he can make up for it in what's left of his current term.
That was what I had to do, go to the emergency room and pay the bill somehow, some way.
Wait, how do you have health insurance?
How do I have health insurance?
Yeah.
I pay for it.
So is it through your employer?
Through the state. I'm also on Medicare.
The Trump administration wants to defund it. Yes.
Right. I don't believe it. There's no evidence of that.
Well, he did it already. The big beautiful bill defunds Medicare.
Oh, really? That's why I'm still on Medicare.
Yeah, it's gonna defund it after the midterms.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll see when that happens. Because I'm still paying for the service. It's not free.
I'm aware. I mean, but
they
yeah.
take it out of your Social Security check.
I want you to get Medicare. I want people to get Medicaid. I want you to be able to live in dignity for the rest of your life. And the Trump administration is actively trying to defund the things that you need to live.
I don't believe that.
And it's going to kick in after the midterms.
I don't buy that, and we'll see what happens. You're looking into the crystal ball.
I'm going to put like a little blurb right here showing what the big beautiful bill defunds. Basically, it's going to go right here.
Right.
So
you can prove that I'm ignorant, but. That's okay.
Go right there.
I don't believe you. I don't buy it. I know you're a left-wing liberal, and a lot of things you say are kind of like, slanted.
How about this? We see each other at MAGA events repeatedly.
Right.
Can you make a commitment that you're going to look that up?
I certainly will.
Once you've looked that up, you can come back to me the next time you see me.
Yes.
And you can say, hey, I looked it up. Let's go over the nuances of that, right? And then we can have a proper discussion on that.
All right.
Thank you.
Walter, it's been a pleasure.
Thank you so much.
Welcome to another episode of FAFO, where I bring you stories of MAGA voters that have entered the find out phase of their vote. Christina wrote the following on her Facebook with some misspelled words. Rump has a lot of nerve celebrating 250 years of freedom when he is ushering in the New World Order. I cannot believe that I voted for this POS, treasonous, traitor, pet protector, and putting another nation before America kinda scum 3 times. God forgive me for ever voting for such an evil so-called man. John wrote the following on his Facebook. I should start by saying that I voted for him. I do so because I don't want anyone to think that I'm a radical liberal. He wants to be on Mount Rushmore. When you consider who is on Mount Rushmore, it is plain to see that he has done nothing to deserve to be there. He has a massive ego. In my opinion, he is an egomaniac. If you know anything about history, that can be your only conclusion. This is my opinion, and anyone is welcome. Respond with their opinion. And of course, my online friend the leopard chimed in and said, behold, the only proper memorial to the king, with a photo of porta potties with his name on it. Jill wrote this very lengthy post on her Facebook. You know what makes me sick? I voted for him. I thought Biden sucked, and his vice president that ran thought he was great, so that eliminated her as a choice. My choice was Kennedy, who was running, and someone I thought cared about the environment. I'm not a Republican. I'm not a Democrat. I'm not an independent. I vote for whomever I feel has the country's best interest in their heart and will protect nature and our public lands and critters. I love to hike, camp, look at beautiful places, enjoy wildlife, and truly care about Mother Earth, and yes, everything God created. Now, you may not believe in God or enjoy the things I do, but surely you don't want to see our nation ravaged and all our national parks, lakes, etc. destroyed just so some modern-day mustache man can be a little richer and more powerful? Damn, people wake up before it is too late, and this ass and his Gestapo followers destroy everything that we as Americans hold dear. I'm not saying that he has not done anything good, but in my opinion, the bad definitely outweighs it overall. And when did everyone become such a poor shot? I believe all those attempts to get him have been staged.
These are 2 investors into the Trump coin, and these are Trump supporters. If Trump was putting his name behind it, it must be a legitimate investment. This is a woman who spoke to Reuters. She put $2,000 of her savings into the Trump meme. At the end of May, her Trump holding was worth less than $120. She now thinks it was just a pump and dump scheme. The second investor, Matt, a 45-year-old machinist in Indiana, put $40,000 into Trump family tokens. When a stock has presidential backing in a way, at least from his sons, you would think it would go up. Matt's shares have dropped 79% in value since he bought them for a loss of about $32,700. He does not blame the Trump family. He said he believes Democrats and anti-Trump investors are taking short positions.
Why do you support Trump?
I think that he's obviously done a lot of things. I can't say he's a perfect person, but I do think he has done things to benefit us.
What is one macroeconomic indicator that's better off today than it was a year and a half ago under Biden?
Closing the borders.
So that's not a macroeconomic indicator.
Yeah,
a macroeconomic indicator would be something like GDP growth, unemployment, inflation, jobs reports. And by definition, a macroeconomic indicator is just simply a gauge that we could use to determine the health of the economy overall. So
yes,
once again,
absolutely.
Speaking about GDP growth, inflation, like wages, so on and so
health
forth.
of the economy, if I can dive into that.
One indicator that's better off today than it was a year and a half ago under Biden.
The amount of drug use and fentanyl in society has gone down miraculously because he has closed the border and illegal drugs are no longer allowed to come in.
You understand the question I'm asking you?
Yeah, I do. And I'm answering it.
So the amount of people that use drugs in society could, of course, influence macroeconomic variables. Like if everybody was drugged up all the time, nobody could go to work, right? So therefore, the macroeconomic indicator of like unemployment would be really high. Okay, so it's not directly the macroeconomic indicator, but rather it's an influence of the indicators. So directly, what is one macroeconomic indicator that's better off today than it was a year and a half ago? Keep it in mind that macroeconomic indicators are things like inflation, GDP growth, wage growth, real median wages, unemployment, job reports, so on and so forth.
I'm going to go with drug use.
Dude, so what macroeconomic indicators did drug use influence? Are you saying that now we have like a lower level of unemployment because of that?
$50 to make homemade hamburgers?
This is what $10 worth of groceries looks like. This was $200.
Pump stops at 150. I'm not even at 3/4 of a tank.
I just spent $70 on a tank of gas.
I just paid $6.99 for a bag of chips that was filled a quarter way with chips and 75% air.
I want to remind you that in this last year, Donald Trump's wealth has increased threefold. He's up to almost $8 billion. Don Jr., his wealth increased sixfold. He's at $50 million. And Eric Trump, the big winner, his wealth increased tenfold to almost $500 million in 1 year. And MAGA wants to know, what's the big master plan? Trump's playing 5D chess. I'll tell you exactly what that master plan is. It is to extract as much money from you as possible. That's why Trump was sued 3,000 times by small businesses, because they did work and Trump refused to pay him. Trump University got sued because he was scamming students, selling them 3-day real estate classes, the gold package, for $35,000 and not delivering anything. His charity got shut down because Trump was taking money that was meant for children and veterans, and he bought himself a $10,000 self-portrait. The plan never changed. And now these motherfuckers are trying to change voting laws and gerrymandering so that they stay in power, so that your vote don't matter. If you feel like your voting rights are infringed upon, or you feel intimidated, or you feel like something's not right, you call these people up, because they are collecting evidence for a massive lawsuit against the federal government. Because make no mistake, these motherfuckers want to stay in power. No matter what, they want to stay in power. And we cannot let them.
This is wild, and I want to make sure you don't miss it. We all know that Donald Trump said, on day one, I'm going to get prices down for Americans, right? Look at what's happening now. This is a brand new poll from The Guardian. It just came out today. Half of Americans struggle to afford groceries and gas. Half of Americans. Guardian calls this a grim portrait of cost of living crisis and says that about 57% of polled Americans also believe the economy is worsening, because it is. The poll also says that 95% of Americans now believe the U.S. is suffering an affordability crisis. 95%! And this is not just Democrats, y'all. Pessimism about the economy has increased for all Americans of all parties. Look at that, just whoop, for everyone. In February, 22% of Republicans said the economy was getting worse. Now that's up to 38% of them, of Republicans. Then they asked people whether they thought jobs in their area were disappearing. Look at rural Americans. 41% of them say good job opportunities in their local area are disappearing. By the way, when it comes to rural Americans, 64% of them now say the economy is getting worse, compared with 46% who said that in February. And again, look at these specific numbers. The percentage who responded they are having trouble affording gas, 52%, groceries, 51%, loan payments, 46%, utilities, 46%. Oh, and don't forget, half of those polled said they're struggling to afford their debt, including student loan debt. This is the economy after a year and a half of Donald Trump and the Republicans in full control. But don't worry, because Donald Trump is on the job, if you consider the job building a new helipad on the White House lawn.
Beautiful helipad. And it's got the seal of the White House on it, in granite, in carved granite. It's really a beautiful thing.
A beautiful thing, he says. But as for this, oh well, he doesn't have an opinion about it at all, because as far as he's concerned, it's not true, it's not real, and your struggles are fake news. And if you're not mad about that, you should be extremely.
The president's financial disclosure just dropped, and he made $635 million from his idiotic supporters who invested in his Trump meme coin. While he made bank off of them, his supporters and investors watched their collective 764,000 wallets crash and burn. The coin went from $74 to $1.68. That's what happens when you trust the most corrupt president in U.S. history. He'll pull the rug right out from under you.
I'm not into politics, but I know what's right and what's wrong.
And what's wrong right now?
The way Trump is treating us. And treating us poor people. I mean, it's bad, because he's never been poor. He's always had that gold spoon in his mouth ever since the day he was born.
What would you tell him?
Go take a hike and let somebody else have a job.
The woman was a checkout person at Bush's grocery store, and she said, like, when Trump won, it was all MAGA hats and Trump hats and all that. And Now, she said there's 0.
And well, that is a good point. I used to see it occasionally in the Kroger's or Walmart. You'd see a MAGA hat. I don't see any of that right now.
Yeah, and she, Bush's is famous for their produce, and people say, like, why is the produce so expensive? And she's like, because we get it from Canada and Mexico. And there's a huge tariff on it, and so the price went up dramatically because of Trump.
Right.
And they're like, she said, like, people like, brace.
Welcome to another episode of FAFO, where I bring you stories of MAGA voters that have entered the find out phase of their vote. Tremaine wrote the following on his Facebook. I do have a confession. The worst confession of my life. Are you ready? Forgive me, Father, for I have sinned. I voted for Rump, but in my defense at the time, I didn't know who he was. I had heard the name, but to tell you the truth, I knew nothing about him. I did not know anything about any of the candidates. I am so sorry, it makes me not even really want to vote again, because I don't know who the other candidates are either, but now I know it can't be as bad as Rump. This is a perfect example of a lazy voter and uninformed person. Jacqueline wrote the following on her Facebook. As a Rump voter, I am disappointed and pissed off. Also, have not arrested no peds. It's all of them. He's the only one I ever voted for. I tried giving one man a chance. Never again. Will always hate government. Always have, always will. Dan wrote the following. Scam, scam, scam. Rump accounts are a conservative walk-down socialism. Free, free, free. When are politicians going to stop with the free stuff? Why do politicians get us into a war, but then they stick their nose in and create problems? I voted for him all 3 times, but Don 5 agree with going down these roads. Steve wrote the following. The current admin under Rump is guiding America into an era of surveillance, doing so overtly. It appears 90% of his supporters are being misled into believing this equates to freedom simply because they voted for him. I too voted for him, but will not stand by this particular agenda. America's freedom and independence hinge on being free from surveillance and digital dominance. Can anyone convincingly argue against this stance with evidence?
My plan will cut energy prices in half or more than that within 12 months of taking office. It will be an economic revival of our country like no one has ever seen before. Energy was what caused our problem initially. Energy is going to bring us back. That means we're going down and getting gasoline below $2 a gallon, bring down the price of everything from electricity rates to groceries, airfares, and housing costs.
You're like a perfect person to talk to because you're media trained, and I can ask you as to why you're supporting the Trump administration when the Trump administration is going after the rights of gay people.
Which rights are we going after?
Going after workplace protections, definitely trans rights. They've defunded HIV research overseas, LGBTQ HIV research here, $800 million in grants.
I don't think any of that's true.
Put a little blurb right here so we can fact check it.
Yeah, are you with him?
Yeah.
Can you fact check that? I would find that hard to believe because during his his first administration, he was actually leading an initiative to eradicate HIV here in the United States.
Cool.
So I don't know why he would then defund HIV research when he was going to try. And it was actually the Democrats that were fighting him on his initiative to try to make PrEP available to everybody.
So here we have Harvard, HIV Hepatitis Institute. Yeah.
Trump budget proposes over $1.5 billion cut to domestic HIV programs.
Yeah.
That was 2025.
Feel free to look this up on your own because
I will.
I do because I figured you would know about these talking points.
Well, that's what they are. They're talking points.
Well, no, I figured
but they're rarely ever actually true. That's the problem. And it's usually a piece of data that's been flipped and reversed and inverted to sound like it means something that it doesn't actually mean.
We can put like a little blurb. We can put a little blurb right here.
I'm not a socialist, but everybody deserves a right for health care.
That's socialism.
And, well, and you need...
Wait. But hang on a minute. You're saying I'm not a socialist, but then you're like, I do, though, want socialized health care. That's socialism.
I don't know if that's called socialism.
It is.
Everybody needs to have the right to have a doctor and be taken care of and have an advocate that helps you figure this out, because there are none here. There are none.
Yes.
What I'm going through now with your father, it is like,
yes.
But it shouldn't have taken me to be in this position to know this, but it did.
Okay,
So I'm
and that's
here.
fine. And I think that's a very common thing with most MAGA people. It's hard for you to look outside your immediate life to find empathy for anybody in a situation that you yourself are not personally in.
Right.
You are in that now. You are seeing firsthand that the medical system in America has nothing to do with doctors or patients. It is completely run by insurance companies.
Insurance companies. That
They
is
make
correct.
every decision.
That is correct.
So like Dad right now, Bob, for those watching the show, he's in a rehab facility trying to get better, to get back on his feet. And the decision about how long he should stay in this place is not made by the doctor, is not made by the patient. It is made only by the insurance company, who has a bottom line about profits. That's all that matters. That's how the entire American medical system is run right
And
now.
we will be kicked out of the rehab facility next week sometime.
One of the funny things that they told me is that they went to these meme coin dinners or events, and at the first one, it was outside of Washington, D.C. at his golf club in Virginia.
Remember that one?
And they said it was kind of like a wedding full of crypto bros, and people were all just talking about crypto stuff, and it was random things were happening. A billionaire gets on stage who's not Trump and starts selling Trump watches, and Lamar Odom, the former basketball player, is walking around, and one guy says that the service is no good. He really wanted soda, and all he could get was water. So just sort of this funny mix-up of like glamour and really not glamour. And then there's a second event that just happened in April at Mar-a-Lago. And at that one, they sort of worked out some of the wrinkles. They had shuttles taking everybody in, and they gave out goodie bags to the attendees. And a lot of people got really, really excited about these goodie bags because of what they contained in them. Some of them had Trump-branded watches that people were really excited about. They also had bottles of cologne that were in like little mini golden Donald Trump statues. And people were so pumped about all this stuff that they started stealing each other's bags. Like somebody would stand up and another person would go under their chair, grab a bag, walk out. But the thing that is with these events, the point is just to get people excited about trading this stuff. And the more trades that happen, the more fees kick off to Donald Trump. He knows that, which is why, even though he's president, he's willing to take the time to do something like go to his golf club or to Mar-a-Lago and host all of his meme coin holders.
Interesting, in the grab bags, there were the little fake gold statues of Trump. That was new. That's new information to me. Okay, so you talk about this, how he makes money on the trades, even as if the overall value goes down, right? And the people who bought it, they lost. So you then, Dan, went and dug into some other ventures. Melania's meme coin, as well as Don Jr. and Eric's crypto business, where some Trump fans have also lost huge. What did you find there?
Well, it's a consistent pattern across these ventures. And if you add them all up, the Trump family has cashed out at this point already like $1.9 billion. And they're up about $3.1 billion in terms of how much it's lifted their net worth. Meanwhile, their supporters collectively are down, we estimate, $7 billion. All of these things are structured so that then the Trumps do really, really well. And even if the assets collapse at the end, they're still left with a huge pile of money.
I actually have panic attacks. I've had a couple this past week. And I get very emotional over it. I don't want to work anymore, but I can't afford to retire.
So there are several reasons why I believe she's crying, but let's start with the part she feels but may not be able to quantify. According to the Joint Economic Committee, the newest figures are out, and every American household on average is paying more than $3,100 a year under Trump's policies. And those numbers are not going to be coming down, even if oil prices come down and tariffs are eliminated. None of that's going to come back to us as prices coming back down. So what is she to do? She's one of the 4 functionally unemployed Americans. We have a record-breaking number of functionally unemployed Americans today. 1 in 4 Americans are working, but they're working at poverty wages. And before they started having to pay an additional $3,100 a year, they were already struggling. This makes it that much worse. I believe she's also crying because she's now starting to see the light, and she's panicking because she expressed her concerns to her rabid Trump family and friends, and she was met for the first time with the reaction we're all familiar with. She was condemned. She was judged for daring to say one negative thing about Donald Trump and the MAGA movement. And that's making her freak out even more, because she knows it's not a matter of enough Trump supporters getting angry with their financial situation that they're going to vote to make things better. She realizes this is a cult, and these people she knows are willing to lose everything to support Donald Trump and own the libs. There's a lot more behind her panic than what she's letting on to. Yep.
Let's talk about all my rage bait videos. I've dressed up like blackface. I've made fun of illegal immigrants getting deported, and I'm like stitching it and like laughing at the corner of the video while they're getting their, ICE detaining them. I've made fun of people in the LGBT community. Done a lot of crazy stuff. Wild. I was on a podcast with some guys a second ago, just got off, and they were asking me, like, can you explain yourself like you walking around Disney World in a MAGA hat? And I'm thinking in the back of my head, that's what you want me to explain? Like, have you not seen all the other videos? Look, here's the reality of the fact. I've never tried to be a good person. I tried to be what I thought was the solution. Voting Republican, voting MAGA. I thought that was the solution. And what MAGA has done, especially when you have prioritized MAGA like the way I have, where Trump's first and MAGA's first and the Republican Party's first, and you put on a MAGA hat and you just try to own the libs, you could take credit for the good, but you have to take credit for the bad. And the bad is we're protecting the Epstein list. We're responsible for all these Middle Eastern conflicts. Let's not act like this is not a war, although it is a war. We're responsible for all the propaganda, the fake news. That is shameful. And whenever you realize you're not part of the solution, you're part of the problem, then you take 2 steps back and you look at all the videos of me walking around at Disney World, or me, making fun of black people or LGBT illegal immigrants. That's shameful. Whenever you realize not only are you a bad person, you're part of the problem. So the only solution now is just freaking taking responsibility, because I'm not going to continue to own the libs. I'm not going to continue to be this way. I got to get right with Jesus. I got to take responsibility for the problems that I've created. And yeah, it's not a good place to be in.
You've said that seeing your old tweets full of hateful, bigoted remarks is a rather horrifying experience today. But many conservatives don't even think of those posts as hate-filled. They genuinely believe those are Christian or godly or morally correct takes. So as someone who's been on both sides of this divide, I have to ask, what was your wake-up call? What did you read? What did you see? Who did you talk to that made you think, you know what, I've gotten this all wrong for the last few years?
There were a lot of things. It happened slowly and then all at once. So there were moments that I would have friends who were trans that I was like, oh, wow, these are not actually evil people who want to trans all the children. There were moments that I would read certain items, and I'm embarrassed to say, but I had never read a slave narrative until my mid-20s. And there's a reason that they want to keep people away from CRT, from certain language, the information sequestering that they do. You're not allowed to read the mainstream media. All of these things are labeled as propaganda. Don't trust your professors. In fact, you should report them to Charlie Kirk's professor watch list. And then there was a moment where I had to make a decision, which I was offered something rather substantial to not speak. And once you receive an offer like that, it really makes you stop and consider the gravity of your words, why your voice is worth so much money, and make a decision on your integrity and if you actually want to have any.
You turned down that offer?
I did.
Was it from Elon Musk?
I'm not at liberty to discuss, but I've turned down enough money that it is the GDP of a small nation.
Wow. Wonder how small a nation. Many who are skeptical of you attribute your shift to being burned by Elon Musk and MAGA. What do you say to your critics on the liberal left who believe your new views are just a convenient way to retaliate against your old friends?
Well, first of all, I'm not making any money from this. I'm back in school. I just finished out my semester with 22 credits, and I plan to go to law school. That's what I want to do. I want to start fighting and making amends within the system that I believe is perpetuating a lot of harm. And secondly, people are putting the chicken before the egg or the horse before the carriage, because when I came out publicly, I knew what the reaction of MAGA was going to be. I was within this cult for almost a decade. I knew exactly how they were going to respond to me. And I was ready to be ostracized. I was ready to be done with MAGA and that cult.
I support the Trump administration, but I am tired. We're tired. Something with Iran needs to give. The American people deserve better. The American people continue to suffer for what is happening in Iran. They're not a peaceful nation. The Trump administration, no, they are not a peaceful nation. They're not about making deals. Something has to give. If the Trump administration does not do something drastic and fast, we're losing the midterms. And that's not me putting down my party, that is me speaking absolute facts. We have a very few short months left before the midterms. People are angry about affordability, and if it is not addressed, we are losing the midterms. People are fed up with what is happening in Iran. Every other day we hear about a deal. Then the deal falls through and we start over from scratch. Meanwhile, the American people are suffering. It's time to stop the talks and start the action. Justice should be swift. Y'all have a wonderful afternoon. God bless you.
Jen, I swear you're almost there. But I think a lot of you all are just in the denial phase, just in my opinion, from what I'm able to see, because I've noticed a lot of y'all are starting to preface what you say negatively about Trump as that, oh, I still believe in him. I still think he's doing great. But then you lead off with what you think about the economy and what he's doing and all of these high prices that we're seeing in gas, housing, groceries, everything. I really just think that a lot of y'all are in denial, because why do you feel that you have to state that? Well, in her case, I think it's probably most likely because she makes her money off of the Trump supporters that follow her, and she probably does not want them to think that she's switching sides, quote unquote, so that she could keep her engagement up. But I will give her this. I know a lot of people might not like this, but I will give her this. She's not totally delusional as she used to be, because last year she was chugging the Kool-Aid. Now it kind of seems like she's just sipping it a little bit. But we'll see. I mean, because she's right. If he doesn't make any changes, which, I mean, and here's where I think she's still delusional, nothing is going to change. We are past the 18-month mark. We are about to be halfway through his second term. Nothing is on the up and up at this point. Yeah, in some areas, and I've said this, even in my area, gas has gone down, but it's not back to where it used to be. And I know in a lot of areas, gas is still like around $3-4. That's something that still needs work, and we need to lower the prices just for that before we could even talk about prices for everything else, because gas is kind of what makes the world go round. A lot of these Trump supporters and MAGA, they are in denial at this point. And I really feel like you could correlate all of this with the 5 stages of grief. I really do. Because right now, some of them are just in denial because they're like, they see the signs, but they're not ready to admit that he's the reason for why we're experiencing all of the things that we have been in the past 18 months or so. And there's some that we have seen that are angry because they're going to the store and one bag of groceries is $100, or it takes $100 to fill up your tank, or maybe not even a whole fill up, maybe even half or 3/4, depending on if you have like a big truck or SUV. A lot of these people just will not be ready to admit that they are wrong yet. I feel that at least if we can see people like connecting the dots a little bit, at least that could be a start to something. But like the guys that were in the street clips, it's just like anytime you bring facts to them, the first thing they want to do is just deny it and be like, oh, that's not true. That's not true. At this point, I don't even know why Trump supporters like engage with these interviews. I mean, I'm sure the content creators are probably happy because that's how they get their content, but you just end up looking insanely crazy. You really do, because you literally have no idea what's going on. You voted for Trump and he enacted this big, beautiful bill, but you don't know that it's defunding Medicare. Like, that was one of the major parts about it. How could you not know it? But I could tell you why. Because they voted for the man. They didn't vote for his policies. A lot of them don't even really care about it. But when you put that fact in front of their faces, they just want to deny it. And then when they're hit with the proof, they do they start scrambling, trying to find an excuse for how it's still okay because it's under Trump. It's just absolutely insane to me. I'll never understand it. This is the man you vote for, but you don't believe it when he actually is putting the laws and defunding things that are supposed to benefit you. Like, it's out there. It's easily fact checkable. And they actually fact checked it with the guy who was a part of the LGBTQ community. But yet he still was like, oh, I got to look that up, which, I mean, sometimes it is good to follow it up. But why wouldn't you just want to second guess that? They literally read it in front of you. He read it. But again, like I said, they will do anything to claim like it's okay, like it's not a big deal. But anything bad that had to do with any other president, they were the first to criticize about it. But in a way, I'm not going to lie, call me delusional, but I do think since we're getting close to the election, I really feel like Democrats should do something with the people who are seemingly backing away from Trump and have realized that he has done nothing to benefit them. And I know this is usually what town halls are for, but this man done made it to where nobody could go out and do town halls. Notice that nobody did any this year that I know of. Republican or Democrat, these people are afraid to go out and do anything. You would think, especially if some of them are going to be up for re-election, they would want to go out there, but you know those Republicans aren't going. You know that. But I do feel like some of the Democrats should be taking advantage of this and finding ways to get some of these people that were Trump supporters to get them in a room and interview them and allow them to ask questions and show them and tell them how they were misinformed. I feel like that would be a great opportunity because, one, that shows that, you know, Democrats are willing to listen to the concerns of Trump supporters and Republicans. And that might be leeway to where, like, some, not all, we know it's not going to be all, child. We know it's not. You know, there's always going to be the ones at the very top that thinks all Democrats are evil, the devil, blah, 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 eat children, what have you. Whatever crazy thing Trump has said, there's going to be the ones that will always believe that. But I really feel like that would be something to start the conversation and the discussion, to start dispelling some of this stuff. Because yes, content creators and just like news stations and their pages try to do that every day, but you don't listen. But I really feel like if Trump supporters were able to sit with Democrats, like I said, the ones that would be willing to and actually want to hold a decent conversation, I think that would be a great idea, just to kind of get this conversation started to where maybe some people might feel that Democrats are willing to hear them out and listen to them and hear their concerns. But for some of them, the delusion is just going to continue. Just like I included the clip of Dean there on the Jubilee Surrounded. Number one, I can't believe that girl actually wore pimple patches on YouTube video that was going to be seen by millions of people, but I digress. That one was just really hard to watch. That one was the one where Dean debated 20 MAGA women. It was just so cringy and just so uncomfortable to watch how these women just cape for this man so badly, and it was just so hard to watch. But he literally asked her like 3 or 4 times to name a macroeconomic indicator that has improved while he's been in office. Of course, they always just want to go to the border, the border, the border. Yeah, of course, that's all they want to do, just because it's the lowest amount of crossings that's have occurred in the last 50 years. Yay for them. But you don't have anything economical to support your claim that he's done anything beneficial for the country. And they always just talk in circles. Like, he literally had to ask her and she refused to answer something straight up. So they never have anything to say because there is nothing, literally nothing. And I actually forgot about that one part that CFH Unfiltered, I think I got the letters right, that he brought up with the that charity he used to have. Like, imagine this, and this should be number one of the things that should go in Trump supporters' minds and be like, that's weird, that's kind of sketchy. Think about it. You set up a charity to do good in the community and give back to those who need the funds to be able to help them out to advance whatever their cause is for said charity. Imagine misappropriating the funds to buy a $10,000 portrait of yourself. Just that in itself, like, why would you think that would be somebody you want to elect to be president? Never mind all the stuff about the Epstein files and him being a 34-count felon and all of the other things. But you can't even run a charity in a ethical way. Like, it just will never make sense to me. And the fact of, I didn't even know this, that he had like courses. The cheapest course, as you guys will see in the screenshots, hopefully, $1,500 was the lowest tier. And $35,000 was the highest. Like, number one, this may be an unpopular opinion, but I just feel like people who buy, I mean, this was back in 2005 to 2010. So, and that was before his presidency. And that's another reason why you should have second-guessed voting for him. Like, he used the guise of trying to help other people succeed only to rob them blind and not get anything out of it. They were scammed out of all of that money. I will never understand giving people money for courses. I don't care if it's Trump or people here on YouTube or social media. At this rate, if you're still paying for courses in 2026, I'm sorry, I'm not trying to be offensive, but that's the you thing at this point. We all know at this point, usually most people's courses are scams and it's money grabs. Now, for both of those, he ended up having to settle. And for the people that ended up suing him because they weren't getting anything out of those courses, I think he settled for $25 million. And I believe the screenshot said that he didn't even admit any wrongdoing about it. So just imagine, this is the man that millions of people voted for 3 times and thought he was going to do so well for the country. Y'all are going to have to make this make sense to me. This man has money grabs in every sector. People are losing their life savings to this man and think nothing is wrong with it. The one clip where Aaron Burnett is interviewing the reporter or the editor from Forbes, in that screenshot, you saw it. Followers or whoever bought the meme coins, whatever it is, crypto, lost $7 billion while he gained like 2 or 3 billion. Do you think that makes sense for a president to be making that much money while in office and scamming that many of his supporters? But okay, you're going to still try to find ways to blame Democrats, Biden, or Obama. That's only going to work for so long. Nobody told y'all to buy and invest your money into this man. I feel like history should have told you that nothing with this man ever leads to success. he couldn't even lead to his own success. Everything went bankrupt. So he used the presidency for both terms to make his money back. And y'all let him, while you're sitting at home trying to figure out how to put food in the refrigerator, how to keep the lights on, and how to get to work, and how to pay for your Medicare, and you're hoping that your Social Security check comes in next month. Imagine that. Imagine just in the one clip, the creator says 41% of rural residents, or people that live in rural areas, say that it's harder to find a job now. But no, that's what y'all voted for him for. He was supposed to bring jobs back to America. Where are they? Literally nothing has come from this man's presidency except for some lower border crossings, which does not impact your daily life. Y'all believe this man so much to where y'all thought y'all were in so much danger, and yet you're in danger of losing your house, not being able to eat, not being able to keep the lights on in your house, or get to work, or even pay for your car or anything else, or get health care. But anyway, you know how my FAFO stories go. It's always the same story. It's people on Facebook praying and writing letters to him, thinking that they're gonna get through to him, or acting as if things are gonna change. Like, when are y'all gonna realize that it's only gonna go downhill from here? He is using this to make as much money as possible from this, so that if he is able to still be alive when his term is over, this man will be a multi-billionaire, and already is. His whole family is making money off of this. While you're struggling and busting your butt 40, 50, 60, 80 hours in a week sometimes just to make ends meet, you elected a man that is having his hands in many pots and scamming people that believed in him out of their money, and holds no qualms about it, and has no regrets about it, and will do it again. How does that make you feel? But yeah, that's what you voted for, so I hope it was worth it. All right, y'all, that's pretty much all I have for this video today. Let me know what you think about any of these FAFO clips down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you found any value from this video. It would be greatly appreciated, and it's free. One of the last things that are free in this country, so take advantage of it. Because Trump would find a way to make a like and a subscribe cost you. I wouldn't be surprised. But yeah, that's all I have for you all today. And I'm going to catch you all in the next video. Bye. See you later.